few months back, we did a video on top 10 Power BI interview questions. In this video, we are going to focus on the top 10 scenario-based questions. Because when it comes to experienced professional interviews, at least with 4, 5 or even more than that, maybe into the lead Power BI analytics or lead Power BI engineer roles, they usually don't ask you very straightforward questions like tell me about this tax or tell me about this or tell me about that. They don't ask you what is row level security. Instead, they will give you a scenario. They would like to see whether you have experienced in that particular scenario and how will you tackle that particular scenario. So this video is going to talk about scenario based questions. Apart from that, we are also going to give you a list of multiple documents consisting of various interview questions and answers. Apart from that, PL300 guide will also be given to you as part of this video. Please check out the description. See you in the video. We shall be talking about each and every scenario based question on how I will tackle. Just a disclaimer, I will not be able to explain each and every question in depth, because if I do, the length of the video will be more than 1 hour, which I don't want. But in case for a particular question you have some doubts or you want me to have a elongated video or a long video on that particular question, you know what to do. Leave a comment in the comment section and I will come back with a separate video on that. So see you in the video. Let's enjoy the top 10 scenario based questions asked in Power BI interviews. Trust me, these are all the scenario based questions which usually I ask or people get in the interviews, and these are real time interview questions that are being asked in top companies. I'll not name the companies, but I have curated this list, and trust me, if you follow this video, it's going to be very much beneficial. On top of that, if you need me to work on multiple such scenario based questions and create a deck or a presentation, I'll probably do that and send it out to you as well. But let me know in the comment section. Let's get started with the first question. Again, just a disclaimer before we get started that these questions they don't have a right or wrong answer, right? It all depends on your experience, and always relate your experiences and give some real-time examples that you have faced in your previous experience. Now, for freshers, usually you don't get this kind of questions as interview questions, but in case you might also get these kind of problems while practicing Power BI projects. So you can always take real-time examples and give them some solutions. So the first question is, can you describe a scenario where you had to optimize a Power BI report for performance and efficiency? Now, this is again a question related to the performance and efficiency. Now here, again, based on your experience, you have to answer, right? If I had to answer, I'll probably answer this way, that in my Power BI reports, whatever reports we have worked with in my previous organization, XYZ organization, we created some 140 reports. So we were actually using a live connection directly from our Databricks. Now, instead of that, multiple reports are basically using common tables. So let's say report 1 is using 10 tables, report 2 is using 5 of them. Now, instead of doing a refresh on each and every report, what we were doing is we had set up a data flows. On top of that, as part of performance, we should also take only selected columns that we are going to use in the Power BI report. Unnecessarily taking other columns or more columns that we don't need is not advisable. There are also certain best practices that we should follow. For example, we should restrict the number of visuals by introducing tooltips and drill throughs, and also write proper DAX functions, because these are also very much needed. So based on your experience, you have to answer it in a way so that it is convincing for the interviewer that this guy has actually worked on these kind of problems, right? Again, as I told you, there is no right or wrong. Whatever you can think and let me know. In case you want to validate your answer for question number 1, 2, 3 or 4, anything, just write down in the comment section. For question number 1, this will be my answer. Sir, can you please validate? And I will validate that for you. So all the interactions will happen in the comment section. Going to the second question. How would you optimize a Power BI report that takes a long time to load? Well, this is again a performance related issue. If your Power BI report is taking a lot of time to load, then in that case, You have to restrict the number of visuals, restrict the number of connections, restrict the number of columns, and there are a lot more things that can be done in order to improve the performance of Power BI. Again, very similar question like question number 1. So you have to answer in a way that is convincing and again based on your personal experience. The third question is a very important question that is mostly asked in all the big organizations. Be it, there are certain companies where they have asked this, and this is a very important question. How do you integrate Power BI into various data sources? For example, you have a Databricks. There is a requirement for a particular report that you need to use the Databricks and you need to also use the Excel. So how will you manage two different type of data sources? Well, in that case, when you are dealing with two different type of data sources, Power BI automatically will not create relationships, right? You have to manually create relationships. So you have to handle it in a way. Now, if you haven't worked on different data sources, be very honest with the interviewer. I have not done it, but in case I have to do it, I'll have to do it this way, right? We take different data sources, we create the relationships, we create the cardinality, whether it is a one-way, two-way, or multi-cardinality, and then based on that, we will take that and we will try to do a scheduled refresh so that both of these data sources are refreshed at the same time. Now, the next question is, let's say you have multiple regional sales team. Each team needs to access to sales data specific to their region, but they should not have visibility of sales data of other regions. Now again, this is a very classic row level security problem, but interviewers are not looking at an answer related to row level security. They are instead looking an answer related to dynamic row level security. So there are two parts. One is a very simple row level security that you go to Power BI desktop and you do that, right? It's a very simple one. I have already discussed it in multiple videos. Apart from that, we also have dynamic row level security that you can set based on the user principal name, based on the type of users, based on the user principal name, based on their particular region. You can also set it up. Now, dynamic row level security is a very, very important topic which I have not created any video on, but in case you want me to do a video on dynamic row level security, I can do that. But for this type of question, you can probably go ahead and study more about dynamic row level security. So you can answer both. Static and dynamic, both can be implemented based on the requirements. Moving on to the next question. You get complaints from users that they see wrong data. How do you debug the issue? Now, wrong data could be because of multiple reasons. Again, see, I don't want to repeat this in each and every question. All are scenario based questions. Everything has to be answered based on your own experience. How would I tackle this problem? Now, in one of my previous organizations, we have done some Power BI dashboards for multiple users, right? We have encountered this problem. Data was not refreshed properly. Now, in that case, you have to go to your mailboxes. If you have already set the scheduled refresh, you would be receiving the refresh failure or success messages. If you see the refresh is failed, then you have to go back to the data source level and see what is the problem. There could be a problem with the data source itself, or maybe there could be some special characters coming in because of which your relationship is breaking. Or one of the classic problems that I faced in one of my previous companies was one of the data sources, in fact 2 or 3 data sources, tables, they did not have a primary key. So we have to manually create the primary key. So kind of line key and year, we combined it and created a primary key. But then what happened was refresh was failing, and we identified that there are duplicate line keys for one particular year, which was causing the problem. And because of that, for that, all the other tables were stopped. The refresh was stopped. That could be one of the problems. So when you see these kind of problems, always go to the source table, try to do some SQL queries to check the numbers, come back to the transform table, check the numbers, and come back to Power BI and check the numbers. So you have to do multiple checks manually in order to debug the problem. Where is the problem? And then if you spot the problem, then you have to backtrace and identify. So again, this is again a scenario based question. I will not be able to tell you whether this is the perfect answer or not, but based on your experience. Okay, very important question. We also discussed the answer as part of the question 1. So it's a very similar question. Let's say your team is working on multiple reports that accesses 10 to 15 tables. Imagine you have 15 tables. Imagine your team has 10 reports. Now each and every report is using some redundant tables. Let's say 5 tables is being used by report 1, report 2, let's say 2 common tables, and then 2 more tables for report 2. So eventually all your reports are using only 15 tables, right? Now in that case, now while refreshing, you see there are many live connections built directly with the original data source, which is a problem. How to fix this problem? Data flows. Many of you might not know about data flows. You can set up data flows on Power BI service. Just go and create a data source. Data source is simply nothing but you have your original data sets, your tables, and you have your reports. Instead of directly connecting to the data sources, to the raw tables, because if 10 reports are being refreshed, you are making 10 live connections, right? Instead, you can create a data flow with all the 15 tables. So data flow will be refreshed once and all the reports will be referring to the data source, right? That setup can be done on Power BI app.powerbi.com service, right? Again, if you want a video, I can do a video on that. Coming back to the last 4 questions. Let's say you are leading a BI team and many of your fellow team members are working on tax. And this was one of the questions asked in my interview. When I was going for an interview for a big retail company in Hong Kong, this was asked. You are leading a BI team and you have like 5 people under you. How will you make sure that they are writing the right tax? Now, well, I answered this way that I'll be guiding them. Knowledge transfer will be given on how to structurize the DAX layouts, how to write proper DAXes. People can also refer to DAX studios in order to know how to format DAX queries. And then, of course, we have ChatGPT right now, so people can leverage ChatGPT to format DAX in a proper way. So before 4-5 years back, there was no ChatGPT, but now we have ChatGPT. So we can leverage ChatGPT by prompt engineering and kind of work on this. But definitely there will be a level of guidance that I need with my team members. Maybe in the daily Scrum calls, I can try to discuss with them about how many DAX functions they have written, whether they need any help in optimizations or not. So it's a continuous process. Knowledge transfer with the help of ChatGPT, they can write the perfect DAX for the company, because DAX are very important, right? The way you write the DAX. If you write the DAX formatting is not good, unnecessarily you are using a huge DAX, whereas Power BI is already giving you something else, then it will be a different scenario. There will be performance issues. Now going back to the last 3 questions, then question number 8. You are going to work on data transformation project where the client needs to move from traditional Oracle BI to Power BI and also onboard Azure ETL pipelines. How would you achieve this task and what timeline do you need to accomplish this task? Well, this is not perfectly related to Power BI, but I would say this is a classic question asked to data leads or managerial people or maybe senior folks who are going as a data engineer or a senior data engineer role with the experience of Power BI. So this question is basically on transformation. Your XYZ company is using old tech stacks. How do you migrate to new tech stacks and how do you introduce Power BI? Now again, this is going to be a huge question, very difficult to answer. But how would I answer in short? Yeah, I will be doing a quick cloud comparison between AWS, Azure and GCP, and what are the requirements, how many users are there, how many data sources are there, how many GB of data do we use, how many data needs to be refreshed daily or monthly or yearly. Based on that, I will create a report, and based on that, I will take it ahead and try to introduce a solution. If we are introducing Azure, then definitely we will be using Power BI. In case we are going for AWS, then Power BI is not needed because AWS already has a QuickSight solution, right? If you are going for GCP, maybe we'll go for Looker. So based on the cloud that we are going to use, based on that we will be choosing the BI tool. So blindly we will not go for Power BI with each and every cloud services. Well, it can be an option, but again, there is no need, right? So this is a scenario based question which is not related to Power BI, but this is how it is. And then imagine the company is moving towards Azure, Databricks and data lakes, so you can introduce Power BI. Now users who are already using Oracle BI, which is a very traditional BI tool, how would you migrate them to Power BI? I will get in touch with the team, different teams. I will identify the number of reports that they are using, and then I will ask my team to build those reports, at least the skeleton part. Once the reports are built, then I will go on a knowledge transfer calls where I will be showing them the reports, the new Power BI reports with whatever they had in Oracle BI. On top of that, some more visualizations, more KPIs, more graphical representations, and try to explain them the capabilities of Power BI and try to train them in Power BI. That is how I will tackle this problem. Ninth question is how to do a near real-time report. Now, honestly speaking, I have never done a near real-time report. Previous all of my organizations, our requirement was daily refresh, not immediate refresh. So I have never worked on that, but there are ways to implement near real-time reports. One of them is using push datasets. Push datasets are something like the dataset, once they are refreshed, they will automatically push it to Power BI. You need not have to refresh explicitly in Power BI. On top of that, you can use streaming datasets using REST APIs and of course direct query. But direct query has a lot of problem when you are working with gigabytes and terabytes of data. When you get started creating a Power BI report using direct query, if you don't have a good machine, a good CPU or a GPU, then it will be very slow. But direct query is an answer. I mean, to this question, the answer is direct query or streaming datasets or push datasets. Last question is very important. 99.99% of the Power BI developers might not know this, but after this video is over, please go ahead and do that. You will love it. The question is, again, they will not ask you directly, but they will ask you something like, okay, you are working on some Power BI dashboard, right, or a report. There are some complex, complex things that needs to be done, which is not possible to do in Power BI desktop. Have you ever unzipped a .pbix file and had a look at the internal files? What are inside Power BI pbix file? Well, that was one of the questions asked, and honestly, I had no clue. I mean, back then, I'm talking about 4 years back, I had no clue about the internal structuring of the pbix file. So what I did was I opened, I right clicked and unzipped that particular file, and if you do that, you will be able to see multiple files like connections, data models, diagram layouts, metadata, security bindings, report. So there are different things that are available inside a pbix file. And you know what, there are a lot of advanced analytics or advanced things that you can do by unzipping this file. Once your request is done, once you have done the changes, you can again convert it back to .pbix file. That's the beauty of Power BI. In case you want me to do this, especially the last part, how to unzip .pbix file and how to tweak those codes for a specific problem statement, let me know in the comment section and I will come back with a video. That's all about this entire video. I know I didn't want it to make it too big, but that is how it is, right? And we have not even explained each and every question in depth. In case you want me to work on separate videos on some of these questions, please let me know in the comment section. I will love to do videos on that, but I need to know which are the top priority ones, right? That's it. As I told you, check out the link in the description. We have also given some Power BI interview end-to-end guides and PL300 guides. It will be a great add-on to your resources list. That's all about it. In case you have any other requirements related to anything, entire space of data, analytics, Power BI, Tableau, machine learning, GenAI, anything, let me know in the comment section and I will come back with a separate video. See you. Bye-bye.